Hi everyone! Welcome to another episode of the Go Loco podcast, the unofficial Local Guides podcast. We're a podcast made by a team of passionate local guides for local guides and about local guides. I can't believe that we're already 5 episodes in. Woohoo! Great going Go Loco team! International Women's Day is just around the corner, so it's fitting that an episode is dedicated to talk and learn more about this topic, isn't it? So that's exactly what we're doing. In addition, we have 2 inspiring women local guides who are joining me. Aiman from Pakistan and Priyanka from India. And no, this won't be just a cliched one episode related to women played during Women's Day and we should focus to something else and move on. We will continue to highlight inspiring women in future episodes and on the Local Guide Connect forum too. Okay, it's time for the catchy intro jingle. Don't feel shy, you can sing too.
Go loco with us, go loco with adventure, your unofficial cast to all things local guides. Yeah!
We're thrilled to have a new team member join our Go Loco podcast team. And this person will be in charge of the announcement section. Curious to know who it is? Any guesses as to who it could be? Well, wait no more, listen to their introduction.
Hi there, local guides and everyone else who found their way in here. If you don't recognize my voice from a previous episode, I'll start with introducing myself. My name is Linnea. I'm a local guide level 8 and I live in Stockholm, Sweden. And thanks to the wonderful founders of this podcast, I'm your host for the announcement section. So if this goes alright, I'll be hosting the segment in the future episodes too. Can you cross your fingers for me? To start off, the biggest and most amazing news of being a local guide got posted on Connect February 19th. I guess you already have seen it, but otherwise, listen to this. Connect Live is back for another year, the 12th of November 2019, and this year they're not inviting only 150 people, but 200. Isn't that awesome? 200 people. Let me provide you with some information about Connect Live 2019. The application period opens on March 4th and closes at the last day of April. The selection criteria are: you must be at least a level 5 local guide during the application period, and you must be at least 21 years old by the event start date November 12th, 2019. Applicants will be selected based on a number of factors, and the submission of a complete application includes a 1-minute video message responding to one of the prompts provided. The prompts are: tell us about your favorite place and what makes it special. What's one thing you want everyone to know about your community? Or why are you proud to be a local guide? You also need to include a new post on Connect that describes a cause you care about sharing on Google Maps and why. Whether you're passionate about finding the world's best French fries or making the map more eco-friendly, post your response using the local stories topic. And last, a new list created on Google Maps about any theme, including a title, description, and at least 5 places. They're also looking for high quality, well-rounded, and consistent contributions on Google Maps over the past 12 months. Consistent involvement with the local guides community, such as actively contributing on Connect or hosting meetups. You can find all of this information on Connect, and when the application period starts, you'll also receive an email with the application form. I wish you all the best of luck, and I hope that we'll all get selected. Further on, I would like to tell all the people in and around Moscow that an international meetup is being held at the Red Square on August 14th. So if you have plans on traveling to Russia and Moscow, or if you live there, join the meetup. And that's all for me this time. Remember that we always want to hear your thoughts and feedback on this podcast, and also that we can help you promote your exciting events and projects. Just send us a voicemail to our Gmail address, and maybe you'll hear it in an upcoming episode. Have a good day!
Thanks, Linnea, for those announcements. I'm sure all the local guides must be busy charting out their plan for the video, creating a new post, and a new list. Alright, shall we get started with our episode? Please put your hands together for my 2 new guests. A very warm welcome, Aiman and Priyanka. Can you both tell us a little bit about yourselves?
Hello everyone, this is Aiman, local guide level 8 from Pakistan. I was born and raised in Pakistan and living in the same city for the past 22 years and not bored at all, still loving it. As far as my education is concerned, I have done my graduation and right now working full time as well as volunteering for a couple of organizations and communities. I call myself a workaholic, but don't worry, I'm a super fun person to be around. I love food and crazy about adventure.
Hi everyone, I'm Priyanka from Gujarat, India. I'm a level 8 local guide and I'm currently preparing for civil services and I've done MBA in marketing. For those of you who don't know what civil services is, basically it is a competitive exam conducted by the government of India for the recruitment into our country's administration. And my hobbies include playing badminton and reading newspaper. I'm also a reviewer on Amazon India.
Can you both share how you became a local guide?
In 2016, I visited a restaurant and had a bad experience. I couldn't do much about it as I was busy with work and had little time for internet. But in 2017, I met with an accident which had left me bedridden for almost a year. During this time, I had a lot of free time and I wanted to do something about that experience. I searched for that hotel on Google and found that many people had written bad reviews about that place. I wanted to share my experience too. A few days after leaving a review, I got an email from Google about this local guides program and I joined in. So initially it was all about gaining points, but gradually I realized the impact my contributions had by seeing the views on the photos and reviews I posted. And that's how I became a local guide.
In all honesty, my Google Local Guide story is super random. I started contributing to Google Maps back in 2013, if I'm not wrong. And at that time, I was not even aware of this program. I used to contribute to Google Maps literally for fun, like adding photos. But I first got to know about this program when I was actually registering a new restaurant on Maps. It was basically one of the restaurant owners who asked me, like, Eamon, how do I register a new place so that the people can actually, find this place and reach to this destination easily. So while I was doing some research, I randomly submitted an edit on Google Maps, and I got notified within like 15 to 20 minutes, if I'm not wrong, that my edit was live and you can actually see the restaurant on the Google Maps. And with that edit, I also got certain points. And while I submitted a photo to that particular restaurant, I got more points. And then I started doing some research, and I got to know that, there's this program called Google Local Guides, and if you contribute to Google Maps, you get certain points and you have certain levels. So yeah, that's that's how I ended up becoming a Google Local Guide officially in 2014. Yeah.
Speaking about interests and passion, I know that Eamon, you're involved with a lot of activities related to women. For example, women tech makers, tech camp for women, and so on. I know about these because I follow you on Twitter. Can you explain to our listeners what this is about?
So this is what my parents or my relative used to ask this. Like, Eamon, what exactly do you do? So I'll keep it brief. I work with a youth-based organization by the name of Alu Clan, and I've been working with them for the past 4 years as the director of marketing. I manage more or less everything because it's a small organization with my super amazing team. Apart from that, I also work for a full-time company, which makes technology easier for people and other organizations as well. I also keep myself associated with like-minded communities such as Google Developers Group. Even though I'm not a technology enthusiast, a person with a technology background or a developer itself, but I do love technology and I do love digital skills, and that's why I'm leading this community as a creative lead. And I've been managing multiple events under it, and one of them is Women Tech Makers. And these days we are actually working on our next event. Rish, I recently won a small grant from US State Department, and through that particular grant, we are executing a tech camp for all the boss ladies in my city. We are going to give them digital and tech training to women entrepreneurs in Pakistan.
Oh, wow! You're managing so many things in spite of having a full time job. That's very commendable, Eamon. You said Alu Clan is a youth based organization. So I'm curious to know more about it. Can you tell me?
Thanks, Vandana. Yeah, I know it's hard to manage at times, but I still love it. So about Alu Clan, it's a U-based startup which was co-founded by three software engineers from Pakistan who were failing miserably in whatever they are doing in their studies. So they basically wanted to come up something good for themselves as well as for the youth of this country. They came up with Alu Clan, which was basically a technology-based startup where a clan of multiple students from college and universities of Pakistan can come, join that platform, and empower them with the right skill set. And Alu Clan in return can connect them with local as well as international businesses. Till date, we have done quite good amount of business, and we have provided our services to local as well as international brands, and almost generated 0.3 million US dollar from a very bootstrapped model, and kind of floated the same towards the youth as well as women empowerment. So socially, it has impacted more than 300 students. Like, we have trained them on multiple digital and technological skills, such as content writing, digital design, etc., and kind of, have given them certain monetary opportunities and professional exposure at the same time. And I've been honored to work with Alu Clan for the past 4 years as the director of marketing and still working with them.
That's amazing, Aiman. Well done. Priyanka, I remember you starting an initiative called Empowered Women sometime back on the Local Guides Connect forum. Can you tell us what it is all about?
It's an initiative to highlight the stories of inspiring women and also adding their businesses on Google Maps.
What inspired you to start something like that?
The inspiration behind this is my mother. She never went to school, but she used to teach me and my siblings till class 5 at home after we got back from school. She used to first learn the subjects herself and then teach us. I always used to think, had she received a fair chance to study, her life would have been completely different. She empowered me with all the things she was deprived of. There are many such women who do not get the right opportunities to shine, but there are many who fight against all the odds and sparkle. This Empowered Women initiative was to highlight such women and add their businesses on Google Maps with the hashtag Empowered Women, and also posting their stories on Local Guides Connect forum.
Wow, your mom is definitely an inspiring lady. That's so amazing of her to first learn and then teach you guys. How did this become an India wide phenomenon and what was your reaction to it, Priyanka?
My mother and I went to a local market which was completely run by women sellers. We interacted with a few of them and learnt about the difficulties and struggles they have. It was very inspiring and humbling, so I decided to share my experience with the other local guides as well by writing a post on Local Guides Connect forum. After reading my post, one of the Google moderators suggested to organize a meetup on this. I did so, and I nominated a few local guides from India to organize a meetup in their cities too. I am so glad that so many local guides supported this by organizing a meetup in their cities. And that's how it became an India wide initiative. And I'm very, very grateful to everybody who supported it.
Women make up more than half of the world's population and potential. So it is neither just nor practical for their voices, for our voices, to go unheard at the highest levels of decision making. The way that we change that, in my opinion, is to mobilize girls and women to see their value as leaders and to support them in these efforts.
This is a nice segue to talk about what International Women's Day is all about. Women's Day is celebrated globally on March 8th every year in honor of their remarkable contribution to the society. The United Nations has summarized this very well, which goes like this. International Women's Day is a time to reflect on the progress made, to call for change, and to celebrate acts of courage and determination by ordinary women who have played an extraordinary role in the history of their countries and communities. Unfortunately, at the same time, this day is a reminder of the discrimination and inequalities that still continue to plague our society. There is such an imbalance in the representation of women in so many fields like the boardroom, at senior level positions at the workplace, politics, sports, and much more. It's as if women have to struggle to fight their way up, right? And this is why gender balance is so very important. It's essential for economies and communities to thrive, and that is why the theme for this year is Balance for Better. To be able to make real difference, to balance the scale, to bridge the gender gap, we need to act collectively with shared responsibility. You can learn more about what International Women's Day mean by visiting their official website at www.internationalwomensday.com.
And for all the young women in this room, all the young men, we can never be complacent, because we have seen in recent times how quickly things can be taken away if we aren't vigilant, if we don't know our history, if we don't continue the work. So my hope is that people leave here inspired and ready to do something. Again, remember, it's not what people say about you, it's what you do. So the question is, what are you going to do? How are you going to be better? What are you going to change in your office, in your life, in your relationships? What are you going to change in your family dynamic? And how are you going to empower yourself with the knowledge that you need to know what work needs to be done?
International Women's Day means different things to different people. So let's hear what our guests have to say about this.
To me, International Women's Day is to remember, reflect, and admire all the women out there who have done and achieved amazing things in their life. International Women's Day is all about remembering the amazing social, cultural, economic, and political achievements of women, while also campaigning for greater progress toward gender equality.
What about you, Priyanka?
Women make up 49.5% of the population, which is almost 4 billion. But it is sad that despite us being 4 billion, there is so much inequality between the genders. For me, women should be celebrated every day for their grit and determination, and more girls should get proper education and, most importantly, support from their families so that they can achieve great heights in their lives. From this platform, I want to say out loud to all the ladies listening, just don't give up, love yourself, and you'll make it.
So, from these responses, we can say that there's a common global focus, and that's towards gender equality, highlighting their challenges, and at the same time celebrating women's achievements despite these odds. Coming to my next question, who are your role models?
I have a bunch of role models actually. Seriously, I find a good mentor, a role model in my best friend, even because I believe every single person in your life has a certain meaning and their advice will mean a lot to you. So I have a bunch of role models for every domain, but if I have to categorize one particular role model who tops all the list, then definitely that role model is Ellen DeGeneres. She is like my mentor for quite some time, and I believe she's a symbol of hope. Definitely, Ellen DeGeneres is one of the best role model that I look up to.
Oh, she's such an inspiring person. Ellen, if you're listening, you have a fan. And how about yours, Priyanka? Who are your role models?
For me, all women who have fought all the odds and are living lives on their own terms is role model. Someone who has freed herself from the shackles of ignorance and realized her rights is my role model. Like you, Vandana, you left your job for your love for traveling. It takes immense amount of guts and support from family to do this. So you also are my role model.
Wow, that's so sweet of you, Priyanka. That's so nice of you to say that. Thank you so much. I'm very fortunate to have gotten the support and encouragement from my family and friends to have been able to take this step. So, yeah, thanks again.
And thanks to being connected to social media, we can see it for what it is and that we are not alone. And hopefully conversations that we're having now will free all of us. If you're a parent, we can break the cycle and teach our little girls and our little boys that girls should be strong, boys should be kind.
What are your thoughts on how women and girls are represented through current media?
Well, over time, a lot of things have changed. Now you can see women almost everywhere, and they're more empowered than ever before, which is absolutely amazing. They're joining armed forces, being open about their sexuality, making positive headlines, and so on. However, I feel like the media is still biased. I mean, you can still see adverts where women are being objectified. For example, take any deodorant ad, and you'll understand what is wrong in that. Here, I feel like there need to bring certain kind of change. And I guess there are people and organizations who are actually voicing about this. And you can see a little bit of change. I was actually watching a commercial by the leading detergent company, Ariel India, and in which they changed the whole picture in such a beautiful way that the household chores are just not the responsibility of the woman, but both men and women should contribute towards that, which is absolutely an amazing ad and an absolutely amazing message to all of us. So I believe the adverts and campaigns like these are a big source of hope for all of us. And maybe one day we all can see a completely different picture of how no gender is objectified in the media.
Traditional media like television has the highest reach as compared to any other medium. It is watched by almost all the age groups. Advertisements of fairness creams, blemish clearing oil, etc., are portraying an unrealistic standard of beauty. Some brands are taking advantage of people's ignorance, and for this ignorance to change, we need more and more campaigning and awareness generation, like the Human Wall of Equality made by 3.5 million women of Kerala against inequality. As far as digital media is concerned, it is doing a very good job in projecting women in good light. So things are moving in the positive direction slowly.
I know what you mean, Priyanka. There are some advertisements that must be totally banned because they're so far off reality and they're selling a concept that is so wrong. For example, those fairness cream brands. Very honestly, watching those ads make me want to throw up. On the other hand, there are a few ads that have totally revolutionized the way people think. One such ad that has struck a chord with me is the Like a Girl campaign. If you haven't watched it, please pause this episode, go to our description and click on the link of the video, watch it and then come back and continue playing. You'll get the context to what I'm talking about. When I first watched this ad, it was so powerful, I was so moved and it really made me think, why should the usage of the term like a girl be an insult? Ever since that ad, I've become very mindful of this term and in fact call people out when they use that phrase in an inappropriate connotation.
That speaks to civil rights and equal rights. And there's that notion, because you have means I don't get, is a very deep-rooted thing where racism and sexism is based. And so it's important to talk about that and unearth that and just simply dispel it and say that is simply not true.
Okay, before we continue to our next set of questions, we're going to pause for a little bit and introduce a new section called Did You Know? As the name suggests, we aim to share with you very cool facts, hidden features, or lesser known features related to Google Maps. So let's get started. So give it up for our very own Kimberly, who will be introducing the very first piece.
You have reached your destination.
Any idea whose voice that is? That's Karen Jacobson, often referred to as the GPS girl. Karen Jacobson is an Australian-born and New York-based entertainer, singer, motivational speaker, voiceover artist, and songwriter. In 2002, Jacobson's speaking voice was chosen as one of the Australian English options for the text-to-speech system used in GPS units for Garmin, Navman, TomTom, and Mio, and in telephone and computer software systems. From 2011 to 2014, Jacobson's voice was used as the original female Australian voice of the Siri application on Apple iPhones, iPods, and iPads. She travels the world these days promoting the empowerment brand she has created, the GPS Girl, and in speaking engagements and performances shares her tips for recalculating in life and business affairs.
Thanks, Kim, for that super cool fact. Now let's get back to our list of questions.
Which feature do you use the most in Google Maps and why?
I drive and I'm always in a hurry. So I use Google Maps feature where you can see the traffic situation, which is the estimated time of arrival, and you plan your travel accordingly. So this is that particular feature in Google Maps that I use very frequently and I absolutely love it.
The feature that I use the most is navigation and live location sharing. I was in Bharuch recently for my best friend's engagement. Bharuch being a small town, there are no Ola or Ubers. So I took an auto rickshaw and it was quite late at night. And I was a bit scared traveling alone in an unknown city. I opened Google Map and entered the destination, and I was constantly checking if the auto driver was taking me to the correct destination or not. I also shared my live location with my sister. Google Maps that day provided me the confidence that I'll be all right and will reach the destination safely.
Live location sharing is one of my favorite features too. Whenever I travel, I share my live location with my family. I like the fact that there is also a percentage of your battery that is shown So in case my battery is low, my parents would know that if I suddenly go offline, they wouldn't have to worry and they would know that, okay, her battery is down. So I like that feature. If you could request a new feature in Google Maps that would help make the world much safer for women, what would it be?
I would like to request a feature where local guides could mark if a place is safe for women or not. The same could be cross checked with the local authorities. The places which are verified as unsafe should have an emergency contact tab with important contact numbers of nearby hospitals, police stations, and so on. This can be used by people in case of an emergency.
Well, I can relate it with ride hailing cab services such as Uber and Careem. I was recently introduced to this feature in Uber in which you can call an emergency number ASAP in case of any alarming situation during your journey through that particular app. Relating it with Google Maps, maybe if someone is using Google Maps for directions or driving or any other purpose, and if he or she is lost, not only the person can use Google Maps to search for nearby police stations, but I believe if there's a feature to call the direct helpline, that would be very helpful. And this feature will be very useful for all the travelers as they won't know the emergency numbers of that locality.
And understand that what's in your brain is really useful. Do not hide it, don't dumb it down, don't apologize for it. Just put it on the table and let people deal with it.
Last question of the episode. 5 words to describe the women of today.
Well, I would say empowered, brave, resilient, provider, and guardian.
The 5 words that come to my mind are resilient, determined, thriving, courageous, and amazing.
And that's a wrap, people. Woohoo! Thank you so much, Priyanka and Aiman, for joining me on this episode and sharing your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did.
Definitely. We totally loved the experience. Thank you so much, Vandana, for putting out such a great effort. And to all the local guys who are hearing us, thank you so much. And International Women's Day to all of you. Have a nice day.
I was a bit nervous initially, but I'm glad that I did this with you, Eamon. And thank you so much, Vandana, for having us. Happy Women's Day to everybody.
I think every man and every woman should be a feminist. Men have to be able to heal the distance between their head and their heart, and women have to be not afraid to raise their voices and be strong. In order to make a real difference, you must love the people you want to change.
This concludes part 1 of episode 5. In an attempt to make the podcast more accessible, we broke down the episodes into 2 parts, part 1 and 2. We had numerous feedback that it was difficult for our listeners to dedicate time to listen to a full episode that's an hour long. So with the smaller sizes, they should be more manageable and you can fit them into your active lifestyles. So at the same time, we're releasing both the parts together just in case you want some continuity. So stay tuned for part 2.
Go loco with us, go loco with adventure, go loco with us, go loco with adventure, your unofficial cast to all things local guys.